We vegans tend to talk about our food and nutrition a lot, whether by our own interest or in answering the frequent questions we receive about where we get X, Y, or Z nutrients. And athletes tend to be obsessed with talking about nutrition and macros and all of that. So vegan athletes can be a force to be reckoned with. But do any of us really know what we're talking about? Well, you can be sure my guest today does. Not only is he a vegan and an athlete, actually an ultra athlete, but to top it off, he's a registered dietitian. Hi, it's Emily from Bite Size Vegan, and welcome to another Vegan Nugget. Matt Ruscigno is a registered dietitian, one of the only professional nutrition credentials available, a vegan of 19 years, endurance ultra athlete busting out marathons, Ironman triathlons, 200-plus mile cycling events, and 24-hour races, because that's not a big deal. A blogger, co-author of No Meat Athlete and Appetite for Reduction, and co-creator of the online vegan athlete web series Strongest Hearts, which makes the best videos on vegan athletes. On top of all of that, Matt is down to earth, laid back, and always happy to educate, and had a cat visitor during our interview, which is by far the most impressive credential. With all of this nutritional know-how and hands-on athletic experience, I just had to ask him, what do you eat in a day? Well, Matt, I just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on the channel.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're an ultra athlete and a vegan. So could you tell us a little bit about your journey to this point? When and how did you go vegan, and a little bit about your athletic background?
Sure. I went vegan when I was 17 years old, which is now 19 years ago this month. Oh, look, there's a little appearance by Kitty. That's perfect. I was very influenced by sort of punk rock music, the whole mid-90s hardcore, like a lot of people were influenced. And then it came time for me to pick what I wanted to study in college, and I picked nutrition just because of veganism. And so that's how I became a registered dietitian. And then I became interested in athletic stuff after I rode cross country. After I graduated, I rode from Huntington Beach, California to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And then I moved to California for grad school and kind of got into cycling a bit. And I grew up riding BMX and skateboarding and doing those sorts of things.
I mean, the registered dietitian, for people who aren't familiar, can you just kind of say what kind of, how many years of study that entails?
Sure. So you have to have a dietetics or nutrition degree, which is a 4-year degree, and then you have to do an internship that's about a year, and then doing the clinical and the food service and the counseling and the outpatient, and then you have to take an exam, just like a nurse, and then you have to get continuing education, just like nurses and doctors have to do. And many registered dietitians, more than half, also have a master's degree, which is what I did as well. I studied public health nutrition. And so that's quite a big difference compared to a nutritionist, where most people have only taken an online class or maybe have done nothing except read blogs and then decided that they like it.
So could you tell me what exactly, for those people who don't know, which I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to serious athletics, what exactly is an ultra athlete, or what does that really entail?
Got it. So for running, they say it's anything longer than a marathon would be an ultra run. So anything longer than the 26.2 mile distance would be an ultra. And then for cycling, it's not quite as clear. Some people say anything longer than a century. Some people say anything that's a double century, which is 200 miles or more, in one go. And that sort of define ultra cycling. For triathlon, people look at Ironman, which is your 2.5 mile swim, 112 mile bike, and then a full 26.2 mile run afterwards. And that's the longest sort of traditional triathlon. You definitely have double Ironmans and triple Ironmans, but that's a very small subset.
So can you give us kind of an idea of what you eat in a day, which I know is probably a complicated question for someone who does such a variety of athletic pursuits, but in the best way that you can, speak a bit to what you eat, in a typical day and when you're training.
It's interesting because I'm definitely an anomaly. As far as being a dietitian, I'm not super numbers focused, and I'm not super obsessive No offense to other dietitians, but a lot of those folks come from a very rigid background, and hard sciences like came really naturally to them. And to me, I'm more of a kind of bigger picture, conceptual person, and my diet reflects that. And even I feel a little weird even being called an athlete, because I never really identified in that world. Like, I didn't want to do jock stuff, I was real hesitant to do Ironman because honestly I didn't want to be around those folks, which that shouldn't keep anyone from doing it. But to actually answer your question, for me, I cook a lot when I can, because my work is so flexible. I love to make tofu scramble in the morning. I do lots of veggies. I'll do corn tortillas or whole wheat bread. For lunch, I'm a big fan of just eating leftovers, whether I'm on the road or I'm at home. And then my dinner, really the two things I make most often are like a stir fry. Just, I love broccoli and purple cabbage and some sort of green, whether it's arugula or kale. And then, some protein, some tofu in there, some tempeh, maybe even a little bit of fake meat. I'm not totally opposed to that. And then burritos, right? I live in California, so that rice, beans, salsa, guacamole, some veggies, all that, and wrap it up in a whole wheat tortilla really makes a great meal for an athlete or anyone.
So I know you said that you don't worry about numbers so much. Do you have any concept of, the macro? Everyone talks about macros when you're an athlete, or do you just kind of more go with intuition?
After studying nutrition for 7 years, I think I have an intuition about it, and I can gauge it pretty well. And I know a lot of athletes really fixate on these macros. And, there's a lot of variance, between individuals and within our own bodies, depending on how well trained we are, our stress levels, or all sorts of things affect our calorie needs and how these, protein, carbohydrate, and fat is assimilated when we eat it. And so I don't think most people need to be as hung up as they are on exact numbers. Just having a good general idea, how much carbohydrate and protein is in certain things, and watching how you feel to know if you're getting enough calories or not.
I don't know how active you were athletically before you became vegan. If you were, did you see any pronounced difference when you made the switch?
It was hard to tell because I was 17 years old, so and my life had changed a lot because I went off to college not long after I went vegan. But I've always had sort of a different build. I was never scrawny, and I'm still not a scrawny person. People say to me, "Oh, I can't believe you're actually vegan because you're not scrawny and you don't talk about it all the time." And so my body type has stayed the same, and my energy levels have stayed the same. And early on, when I started doing like actual athletic events, I felt it very important to represent veganism, and I never felt that I had any limitations as far as my training goes. A lot of people eat plant-based foods when they're training, whether they think about it or not. They're eating bananas, they're eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, they're eating pasta with tomato sauce and some veggies. These are vegan foods that most athletes eat.
Are there any events or anything that you have coming up?
Yes, I'm speaking at the Mad City Vegan Fest, which is the Madison, Wisconsin Veg Fest at the end of the month, June 27th. I'm really excited about it. They seem really well organized. Seems like a big, fun event. So that's something that I have coming up.
For people who want to be able to follow your work or get in touch with you, because I know that you offer a variety of services, can you tell them where to find you? And then if you want to, also what it is that you do offer.
So we talked about Strongest Hearts, which is StrongestHearts.org. All our videos are there. My personal website is TrueLoveHealth.com, which is still more blog than professional, but the stuff that I do is on there. I offer private consulting. I do a lot of public speaking. It's probably my favorite thing to do. Veg fests. I do stuff with groups. And that I'm always looking for new opportunities to do and speak to people, and especially non-vegans. I love going and bringing this message to people and saying, hey, look, here's the evidence, and there's lots of other reasons to eat fewer animals, so here's how we can do it. I love bringing that message to people in a fun way that's easy to digest, no pun intended. And then all the social media is just my name, Matt Ruscigno. Instagram, Twitter, all of that stuff. And I travel a lot, and I love food, and that's kind of a rambling ending. But yeah, I love for people to follow me and keep in touch, and let me know what they're up to as well.
All right, well, Matt, I just want to thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to be with us and for sharing your knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. It was great to talk with you. I love talking about all this stuff, and thank you for all the work that you do.
I hope you enjoyed hearing from Matt on this. Stay tuned to the series for more with him on optimal athletic performance via sound nutrition and some of the most inspiring vegan athletes he's worked with. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did you enjoy Matt's more laid-back approach to nutrition? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this nutritional wallop of a nugget, give this video a big thumbs up and share it around to show that sound nutrition doesn't have to be brain surgery. If you're new here, do hit that big red subscribe button down there for more awesome vegan content every Monday, Wednesday, and some Fridays, and to not miss out on the rest of the Vegan Athlete series. If you want to help support Bite Size Vegan, check out either of the support links in the video description below, or click on the Nugget Army icon there, or the link in the iCard sidebar. Now go live vegan, settle down about your nutrition, and I'll see you soon. This is the best interview ever now, officially, because of the cat. What's his or her name?
This is Odin. She is Odin.
She is adorable.
A very cute adopted cat.